On behalf of all humans and pandas, we gotta figure out who made turtles so mad at us, because this turtle here is the most evil turtle within Gumball, if not Cartoon Network as a whole. So this episode is called The Puppy and features this turtle who was a gift from Richard to his children who were actively begging for a puppy.
I've been in the pet business for a while. In fact, if you check my resume as an ex-animal companion myself, I possess the skill set to manage this puppy project.
We need more southern accent Darwin too. Now you may ask, where did Richard receive this puppy? And that's where the rabbit hole begins. He describes a place that many Gumball fans know, but some don't. This place is magical and has been the origin of several major things within the show.
It was right there. It was a small store. It was bright red. It had a door that slid open like this. And the man inside sold puppies and watches and stereos and fur coats and golf clubs and fireworks, and he was such a nice man.
Dad, that was a van.
You bought a turtle from a man in a van.
That van isn't your average van. It was in this van that Rob gets the universal remote that opened the void and nearly took out Gumball within the disaster and the rerun. It was in this van that Sarah received the magic Cartoon Network notebook that can change people's entire canon within the shippening. And more importantly, this is the van that Richard would adopt Darwin from. Although we don't know its official name, most people refer to this van as the Awesome Store, and for all interesting things purchased from it, this is the most evil. As they rush over to what they believe to be a puppy, they're faced with the reality that their dream pet has turned into a nightmare.
Ugh, what is that? It looks like an angry green hat.
Ugh, what on earth is that?
It is the embodiment of evil. It is the type of hell that cannot be frozen over. It is the source of a theory that I want to get to later with Nicole, so keep that in mind. Speaking of Nicole, she wants nothing to do with this quote-unquote puppy, and therefore really isn't in this episode like that. She takes a passive stance, which is a bit odd, because she knows that Richard and the kids left unattended will get into dangerously stupid things. These are the same people who decided to do a blind race, which hurt a lot of people involved. You can make the argument that maybe she's coming home from work or has more important things to do, but I wish if that were the case, it was mentioned and not just speculated. She levies all the blame on the kids, which I don't particularly like. In fact, and I mean this with all due respect because I enjoy Nicole's character, she could have been written out of the beginning of this episode and nothing would change, except you wouldn't have her playing the blame game knowing her husband. Tasked with a turtle that no one directly asks for, they decide to make the best of it and love it like any other member of the Watterson family.
Come here, little guy. Maybe not.
Dude, don't let your fear prevent you from having a beautiful relationship.
Oh yeah, that's rich coming from you, Darwin. This episode is far after the episode Halloween, an episode where you decide to act on your crush with Carrie and then do nothing for literal seasons, all the while having fear prevent you from having a beautiful relationship. I mean, look at this thing. It wasn't even delivered in a box with holes. Either this creature scares the oxygen molecules to quantum tunnel through the cardboard box, or this thing breathes fear. I think it breathes fear. However, in defense of Darwin, I think it's a very nice touch that he's the proactive one who wants the rest of the family to love this new pet like any other, considering that at one point, he was a tinier, legless fish in a fishbowl purchased as a pet. He would know more than anyone else the benefits that come from that kind of support. It's just that...
What the? Okay. There. Good boy. Happy now?
Darwin wasn't evil. He could be crazy, he could be mean, he could be vengeful, but Darwin wasn't evil, especially not in the origins. Anais and Darwin played the judgmental spectators, letting Gumball take all of the direct shots but not doing anything themselves. If you're wondering why I'm okay with Anais and Darwin pushing everything on Gumball, but not okay with Nicole pushing all the responsibility of the turtle on her kids, it's because Gumball calls out that behavior. This episode would have been way more annoying if Gumball didn't call out Anais and Darwin. I can respect Anais and Darwin wishing to respond with love, but they have no idea what they're dealing with here. I mean, just take a look at how this creature thinks.
I'm sure he's more scared of us than we are of him. Who knows what's going through his head right now?
Bite, bite, bite. Eat food for strength to bite, bite, bite. Make little turtles to bite even more.
Now I want to point out something which may be a future spoiler, but not for this episode. So Anais is wrong about many things, but the wrong thing I want to focus on here is the pronoun. It's not he, it's she. This is a female turtle. Now before you head over to Twitter to cancel Anais for misgendering, she didn't know. I didn't know the first time I saw this episode. In fact, whenever you watch cute animal videos like yeah, ones like that. I never thought to myself, hey, is that a female or male cat? I just scrolled to the next cat video like anyone else. However, that comes up in another episode called The Nest. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see The Nest as a future Gumball video. Now, Gumball would continue to be the only person willing to be in biting range of this beast and continually be proven right that this creature is evil. The reality of their situation sinks in. There is no amount of love that can be given to tame the beast. Over time, even Anais and Darwin received the same amount of scars that Gumball has. So in a similar fashion to how they arranged a presentation to get a puppy, they arrange a presentation to get rid of their puppy. Unfortunately, Richard stands his ground, most likely because it would take more work to get an actual puppy, but he'd have one condition that if met, he'd get rid of this quote-unquote puppy.
Unfortunately, to persuade this family's CEO, the turtle would have to do something absolutely horrific.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely horrific!
So remember when I said earlier in this video that I had a theory between the turtle and Nicole? Well, the episode doesn't really tell you what the horrific act the turtle did, so it's up to speculation. Well, let's look at the clues. Between the last time we see the turtle and that scene there, clearly some time has passed because that's when Darwin and Anais received those scars. Whatever happened would have to be so bad that Nicole would freak out like that. It'd have to be so bad that Richard would not only get up and return the turtle back to its owner, but he's also offended by whatever happened. My guess? Well, if you remember in that infrared scene earlier, the turtle mentioned needing food to fuel their desire to bite things. Knowing Richard, he'd only really care about food, so I think the turtle absolutely destroyed the kitchen and ate up everything. So why would Nicole care that much? Well, she's the only one working a job. Imagine coming home to what you think is a full fridge and find everything eaten by a turtle. I would cry. This is what leads us to the scene where Richard explains the Awesome Store, as this was the first episode that spoke about the van. And tracking down the van, Darwin would reveal that he left the turtle outside in the blazing sun by accident.
At least he passed away peacefully. Yeah, like a peaceful, evil raisin.
Another aspect I enjoy about this episode is that they keep what is an annoying situation to be as comedic as possible. They transition directly into a funeral for this turtle that they've only known for like an afternoon or something like that. They try to think of nice things to say, but again, this turtle is the embodiment of evil. Personally, I wouldn't have nice things to say about a creature that literally bit my face off, and Gumball's the only one keeping it real. Unfortunately, Darwin's tear was enough to hydrate it back to life, and it runs off to terrorize not just the Watersons, but the entire town.
Somebody save him! He could get hurt! Forget saving the turtle. We need a plan to save the neighborhood.
Now we switch from funny to fear. Since this turtle is their responsibility, they have to get it back and contain it forever. And thinking of ways to solve this, they land on using Gumball as bait, directly acknowledging that the turtle hates him the most. There's an important detail in this scene though. Darwin would get snatched away mid-sentence, leaving Gumball to be the only one left to feel the turtle's wrath. Fear takes over his body, as while he was meant to be bait so that Anais could capture the turtle once and for all, he takes off running. Meanwhile, we get Nicole appearing later in the episode to ask about the kids.
Kids, where are you? Richard? Richard, where are the kids?
475 West Gilmore Boulevard!
This is a rare Nicole L for me. She directly witnessed off-screen what a menace this turtle was. Sure, maybe you can say she assumed Richard would take care of it, but think of it this way. If she couldn't trust Richard to take care of things the first time, why trust Richard to take care of things the second time? As a person who's babysat a lot in my life, you cannot trust children to take care of certain things. As Gumball tries his best to escape the wrath of this hellspawn, it seems like nothing is working. In terms of enemies within the world, I consider the evil turtle to be one of the strongest, yet not spoken about enough. I'm pretty sure she's invincible to almost anything that doesn't immobilize her. Gumball would unknowingly climb on the Awesome Store, the same van that Richard purchased the turtle from. As he feels her wrath, Darwin would come back with a huge vengeance.
You thought you could drag me to the bottom of the lake so you could eat me later? Well, guess what, punk? I'm a fish. With legs.
Big Darwin W. The dynamics shift here, with Gumball holding Darwin back from beating up the turtle. That's the funny thing with Darwin. He's very nice, but if you get on his bad side, it seems like he has less of a limit than Gumball. The commotion reaches its peak when the fireworks within the Awesome Store get lit up, causing the entire van to be destroyed. But is that the end? Is that the end of the evil turtle's villainy and destruction of the Watterson family? Is that the... Oh, yeah, I guess I already told you there was a future episode with the turtle. Well, that ruins the surprise. I'm gonna play the clip anyway.
No! This can't be possible! No!
I guess the thing to learn here is that some enemies come and go, other enemies are here to stay. This does bring up questions such as, how does the Awesome Store come back within a disaster? Where do they keep the turtle to keep everyone safe? What did Nicole truly see from the turtle that was absolutely horrific? Well, I fully can't answer those questions, but I can say, speaking of scary things within Gumball, if you want to see a character who almost everyone is afraid of within Elmore, you should check out this video on the girlfriend with Jamie.